ready for this.
Hello friends, hope you've had an excellent week. In this week's discussions, an interesting conversation came up with a friend of mine which was talking about holding on to things, and not holding on to things from a point of view of something that traumatic's happened or something that you're trying to cling on to that happened years ago. We're talking about holding on to things that slow you down in the growth and development of you as a leader and your business as a whole. And what we mean by this is sometimes when you've got something to work out or you have to deal with something that's a bit awkward, for instance, you need to write an email to fix a situation or make a phone call to fix a situation. What a lot of people do is they send the email, write the email 5 times, send it off or make the phone call, but then they sit and dwell on it. They think about the process. And it's a very interesting thing because it's natural to consider what's happened even though you've dealt with it. But you have to start evolving as a leader to, as soon as something's out of your court, you stop thinking about it. Because as our businesses get bigger, as there's more complexity, as our time is more valued, you can't invest time into thinking about things that have already been dealt with. Particularly if it's something like an email or a situation you're dealing with and the play's no longer in your court, you need to let that go. Because the problem is when we start to get a little bit more complex, when we start to get bigger, you might have 4 or 5 of these type of things on the go. And if you can't allow yourself to mentally compartmentalize where you should be focused, you're going to spend a lot of time finding you're drifting in and out of conversations or ideas or things you have to deal with that are already being dealt with up until this point. And why we were talking about it is because it's a skill. It doesn't mean the situation has resolved itself or is completed. It means that you've done what you need to do up until this point, so you need to get on with something else because something else requires your attention. And it's a deep form of procrastination when you've got something off your plate or out of your court to then still keep thinking about it. It's actually stopping you moving on to the thing you now need to be focused on. And I think it's worth just thinking about your day, your week, your month, and working out where are you getting things off your plate, but still giving them energy that you don't need to. Regardless of whether it comes back on your plate and then you can deal with it then. That time in between shouldn't be further invested into that challenge, that problem, that resolution, because it's something you're going to need to master as a CEO and as a business that's growing rapidly. So you may as well try and start now when you've only got a couple of these situations that might crop up every so often. But it was something very interesting and a really interesting discussion with this person. I think it's something worth considering over the weekend. Where should you not be investing further time or effort into something that's actually no longer on your plate? Have a great weekend.